All right, welcome grade 7 to another math video. This time we're going to be taking a look at sales tax. And sales tax is very similar to our last video on discount. The only difference this time is instead of subtracting a certain amount, a discount amount, or instead of finding out what is left when we subtract 100% from the discount percent, we're going to be adding it because tax is extra money that you have to pay. That's really the only difference. And so another way to think about it is that the tax that you have to pay is whatever the tax rate is times whatever the cost of something is. So for example, here in Ontario, for many things we have to pay the harmonized sales tax on things, which is 13%. That would be the tax rate times whatever the cost is of something that you're buying. In this example, though, we're going to go over a number of different tax rates so we can understand best how this works. So let's go through two examples together as we try to take a look at this. And again, this is going to be example 18 and 19 if you're following along in those pictures that I provided as well. So example 18, I'll split this down here, says a technician charges $50 for a repair job, excluding sales tax. What that means is that does not include the sales tax. So the cost is going to be $50, and the tax rate for that is going to be 9%. So there's two parts to this question. One is going to be how much sales tax does a customer have to pay? So how much extra are they going to have to pay? To do that, to figure out the tax, all we have to do is multiply these two values together. $50, or sorry, starting with the tax rate. Tax rate 9%. We need that though as a decimal. So 9% as a decimal is 0.09. Remember, we move that decimal 2 spots over, and then multiply that by the cost, which is $50. And that would tell us that there is about $4.50 of tax on top of things. So that's the extra tax that we would have to pay. Part B says, how much does a customer have to pay for the job, including the sales tax? So whenever we are doing things, we need to pay for the actual amount, the cost, and whatever the tax is as well. So in this case, total cost would be equal to the tax plus the regular cost, or it would be equal to the $4.50 that you have to pay extra plus the original price of the service, which was $50. That would give us a total cost of $54.50. Let's take a look at another example here. This is going to be example 19. Example 19 says, in a store, the marked price of a digital camera, so marked price or original price or cost, we can use all those same words to refer to the same thing, is $400, but this time including sales tax. So the marked price of a digital camera is $400 inclusive of sales tax. If the tax rate is 5%, find, so this is how much you had to pay, including tax. This was the tax amount. Find the price before the sales tax. So what was the original price of this? They've included the tax in the price already, and sometimes some places do that. What was the price beforehand? Well, in order to figure that out, in order to figure out the values here, I say this is part A, we want to figure out, we have the marked price, and we know that the marked price is going to be equal to the price before the sales tax plus the sales tax. Sorry, price before sales tax plus the sales tax. Right? That's kind of what we figured out here. We're just kind of rearranging what we know or what we're trying to figure out. And We can even break this down a little bit further. The sales tax is, we can think about as the price before the sales tax times the tax rate. Tax rate, running out of room here. Okay, this might look pretty messy, but let's try filling in now what we know. We know the marked price, 400 bucks. Okay. The price before the sales tax, yeah, we don't really know that so much yet. So price before sales tax, we're going to call that the cost. So I'm just going to put a C there. And we're going to have to add that to the price before the sales tax times the tax rate. And this one gets a little bit trickier here. For the sales tax, right, this is where we are rearranging our formula a little bit. So if you remember, with our sales tax, or with our tax rate, our way of figuring that out is that we took our percentage, like 100%, and we subtracted whatever our discount rate was. Well, that was because discount is less than the original price. Tax is more. So instead of subtracting, we actually have to add the tax rate to our original price to figure out the percentage here, the tax rate, including the price before the sales tax. So the price before the sales tax is just 100%. It's just the original price of whatever we're paying. And then we're adding the tax rate to that. And so our total percentage here that we're going to be using is 105%. But again, we need that as a decimal. So we're going to say $400 equals C plus, or sorry, C times, my mistake there, C times 1.05. Just like in our last question, our way of getting rid of this multiplication piece here is to divide the opposite operation by the amount that we're trying to move over, 1.05. And so we would now find out that the cost, 400 divided by 1.05, it's going to give you a bit of a rounded decimal. And so we're going to round it out to the nearest cent, $380.95. So that was the original price, or the marked price, before we continued, or before, yeah, that was the original price. And then once we added the 5% tax on, it ended up costing $400. The next part of the question is going to ask us, okay, so if that is the case, how much tax did we end up having to pay? So in order to do that, sales tax, we figure out our marked price. That is the price that we paid for that, $400. In this case, that's more than the original amount, minus whatever the original price was, or the cost, the original cost, $380.95. And that says that the amount of sales tax that we had to pay was $19.05. That was our rounded value for the amount that we had to pay. So although we paid $400 for the object, it included tax. It included a 5% tax, which means that the original price of that was $380.95, which means that we paid $19.05 in sales tax in order to get us to that $400. Hopefully that makes sense as we continue to go through. Just a big reminder that tax has us adding on values to the original amount, whereas discount has us subtracting them.